Thank you for joining Unity of Sebring. If you find our lessons helpful, please consider donating at www.unityofsebring.org.
There I am. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of Sebring. It's a good morning. Yes. Now, for those of you that have bulletins, if you would turn to the inside page on the right at the bottom, follow along with me. And it says projector issues. After 14 years of dedicated service, our overhead projector decided it was time for us to update to a new and improved version. We are awaiting information and an install date for the new system. As Andy used to, please bear with us during this process. Lots of new changes to adjust to at the moment. As Andy used to say, change is good, but dollars are better. It's always better to laugh. Hugs and blessings, Tina. And speaking of Tina, she is out of state visiting her family, and she will be back at the end of this week. So, let's join together in the peace prayer. Page 1? No. Yeah, no, you're lying to us. Okay, the peace prayer as best as we remember. On this day and every day, we dedicate ourselves to peace on earth. We accept ourselves without harsh judgment and express appreciation for our individuality. We live without fear and meet the events of this day with confidence. We accept others without prejudice and experience a sense of unity with all people, in harmony with ourselves, our lives, and all others. We live this day with a peaceful mind, a peaceful heart, and a peaceful spirit. And so it is. All right. And this morning we are going to do Swing Wide the Doors. So go ahead and rise if you can, and we will join together.
Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Ooh.
bunch of Hawaiian in there. Our daily word today is protected. And the affirmation is, through my oneness with God, I feel protected. Through my oneness with God, I feel protected. Together? Through my oneness with God, I feel protected. Sometimes I may feel at the mercy of a changing, tumultuous world I cannot control. Anybody ever sense that? Sometimes I may feel at the mercy of a changing, tumultuous world I cannot control. This is never true. Even though the chaos of the world may swirl around me, at the center of my being is a place of perfect peace and calm. Whenever I am in need of a safe refuge, I turn to God within to reach this place of tranquility and reclaim my feeling of security and protection. The sun always rises after the longest, darkest night. I remind myself of this truth and feel grateful as I allow the light of spiritual understanding to release and reclaim whatever power I may have unwittingly given to a fear-based thought. Fully in tune with the divine presence within me, I move safely and confidently through every challenging circumstance. From 1 John 4:4, the one who is in you is greater than the one who is in the world. Let me say that again. The one who is in you is greater than the one who is in the world. And our affirmation again is, through my oneness with God, I feel protected. Together, through my oneness with God, I feel protected. And we're going to talk about that today. Now we have our statement of being. Together, there is only one presence, one power in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotence. And the mission statement, Unity of Sebring is the radiant expression of the Jesus Christ message of truth, light, and love, shining forth to welcome and bless us all, quickening in each person an awareness of inherent value, worthiness, and purpose. The next song is Open My Eyes, and that's the next page on your song sheet. like to start this morning with scripture from Jeremiah 29:11. And for those of you that want to read along, that's what the plaque is up here. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. I will be found by you, declares the Lord, and will bring you back from captivity. I will gather you from all the nations and places where you have been banished, and will bring you back to the place from which I carried you. And so it is. I know the plans I have for you. What reassurance that gives us that there is a plan that we may not see, we may not know, we may not understand, but to know that God has the bigger plan for us. When Jesus was working his miracles with people, the common phrase he used was, "Will you be healed? Will you be healed?" And the one person that's recorded that went away desolate was a young man who came and asked to be a disciple. And Jesus said, "Fine, go and give away all that you have and return and be a disciple." Now, I had a revelation this week. I had several. Let me tell you, I was on 27 this week. That is a revelation. And the revelation was, Jesus, in a roundabout way, was saying to this young man, "Will you be healed of your limitations?" Some of the people, some of the miracles that he did were healing miracles. Some of them were forgiveness of sins that other people thought they should be forgiven, not forgiven for. All kinds of different things miracles that Jesus did. But also, in asking this young man to give up what he had was a limited consciousness that the worldly things meant more to him than serving God. And that, to me, was a total revelation that this young man was eager to join the army, kind of thing. He had heard what Jesus had to say and said, "Yes, sign me up. I want to be there." But when challenged of his normal habits of thinking, which included all the things that he had, a home, treasures, talents, etc., relationships, friendships. Give up all you have, give it away, and then follow me. What do we do with that? What Jesus says and what God says, divine order, is wanting the best and highest good for all concerned. We're talking about order today. The best and highest good for all concerned. Now, to me, that brings up two words: doubt or destiny. I believe, I had a conversation this week with a friend who asked me if I believed in the afterlife and all the traditional Christian belief systems. And that brought me to the doubt or destiny. My understanding is that we all are going to get there. I know I shared with you before that when I was 9 years old, I asked my mother if she believed in hell. We are told over and over and over again that God is all loving, all present, all knowing. How can we have a doubt? We have a doubt because there's race consciousness from eons of failures and control given by people in authority and belief systems that have been passed down. Friends who believe, what if? I have to prepare for what if? What if this happens? What if that happens? What if? What happened to the present moment? Are you living now? Are you in that center of peace that we talked about in the daily word? That is within us, that sanctuary, the inner sanctuary of God, of the Christ Spirit within us? Or are we so caught in what we've been taught over the years, especially as children? You know, we learn things by watching other people. I remember when I was about 3rd grade, I started reading when I was 4, my mom told me. When I was 4 years old, I'm reading advanced, maybe 2nd grade level. I remember in 2nd grade, the principal filled in for the teacher. And we were in reading circle. And I was sitting there with my Dick and Jane, and I started looking ahead because I'd already read that part. And I remember him saying to me, "Don't look ahead, stay with us." Now that may not impact you like it did me. But looking ahead was what I did when I had these feelings that something was going to happen, or that I knew something, or that the phone was going to ring, or I was going to run into a friend of mine. But don't look ahead. Stay with us. That still is in there, as you can tell. Years and years and centuries of race consciousness, of the consciousness that's built homeless. It comes to mind, I have a new fur baby that I'm going to share about today. I have called her Sassy, just because I've had Shashi and all these other S's, so she became Sassy. Sassy has not shut up in the last month. And it finally dawned on me this morning. Why? Because she was homeless, she was rejected, she was all the things that I have grown up thinking I was. And she is exhibiting this by meow, 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 constantly. And what it comes down to, she's not hungry. She just is checking to make sure I'm still in the house. You know, I went to a different room. Meow, meow, meow. 2 o'clock in the morning. Meow, meow, meow. Anyway, back to doubt or destiny. My belief is We all are going to get there. God did not create junk. You've heard that before. That's a good 70s saying. God did not make junk. We are going to get there. But we have free will, and we can take all the detours we want. And we can get lost, and we can go somewhere that's not exactly helpful to us. And one of those places we tend to go is to fear. Back to what if. Fear. What was that sound? What was that noise? Oh, what if the tire falls off my car while I'm driving 60 miles an hour down 27 and the cop stops me? Well, hopefully he stops me before the tire falls off. Fear or faith? We talked about faith last week. Faith is paramount, that we are children of God. The Christ Spirit lives within us. We are full of the Christ Spirit, and it overflows into our world. What we believe, what we think, what we do, the actions we take are godlike or not. So, dealing with what ifs. I wanted to tell you a little bit of a story about my adoption search, just part of it, because it's a long story. Back in 1980, I was talking to the minister that I was working with at the time, and I said, I really believe that it's time for me to do my adoption search. And she said to me, okay, in meditation, I want you to bring that question up and see what answer you get. How many of you remember the show Get Smart? Okay, most of you. Remember at the beginning and the end where the vault doors go shut, the gate comes down, everything locks up? When I had my meditation asking about if I should do a search, that is what I saw. Slam shut the doors, down came the door, the gate, everything. Click, 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 click. I could hear it in meditation. That was in 1980. In 1992, I had decided, I had moved to Columbus, Ohio, which is the capital. I had joined an adoption support group, and I had decided that I was going to do my search, that it was time. So I returned back to my hometown. My best friend and I went to the local library that had a genealogy section, and some nice people, volunteers, had cataloged every cemetery in the county, and they had published the books. So my girlfriend took a book, I took a book, and we started looking for my birth mother's name, or my birth father, or anybody that was related that we could find. And my girlfriend found my birth mother's name and cemetery that she was buried in. So the next day, I was going to return to Columbus, and so I was going to stop at the cemetery on the way, which I did. It's off a road that used to be the main road from Michigan to West Virginia. It was overgrown and gravel maybe kind of thing. And I got to the cemetery, it had not been mowed. And I'm thinking, how in the world am I going to find this? But the major point was, it was lightning, thundering, and raining. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get struck by lightning. I'm going to get killed out here in the middle of nowhere. They won't even know I'm out here for years. They'll wonder what happened to me because they think I'm in Columbus. I'm 2 hours away. Nobody will know I died or why. But I parked my car, and I had a hatchback Chevette. So I walked around just to make sure I get struck by lightning. I walked around to the back, got my umbrella out so that I could have the lightning strike, and walked around to the side of the car, and there was my birth mother's grave. I had parked right next to it. Now that is divine order. When you ask and it's right, it's the right time, it's the right thing, the heavens open up with rain or whatever. But when it is the right time and it's the right place, the right people involved, it will happen according to your will as long as it's lined up with God's will. That's divine order. And you will know. You will know if it's right. And as I said before, sometimes we take those little detours just because we want our will be done. And God has a way of bringing us back on the path and saying, let's go on this way. That was in 1992 that I found my birth mother's grave. In thinking about destiny and fear, it's not the destiny that I'm afraid of. It's all of that journey in between of what kind of mischief I can get into. What kind of mischief have you gotten into in your life that you need to take a look at and maybe have some healing done? I heard that. At another time, I will talk about Jesus and his miracles. There's too much to go into about that. But there is an order to miracles as well. I will tell you about one of them. The first miracle that Jesus did was changing the water into wine at the wedding in Cana. We all have heard of that one. The one that I want to share with you today is the feeding of the 5,000. This is the only miracle that's recorded in all 4 Gospels. John the Baptist, which was Jesus' cousin, by the way, had been killed, murdered. Jesus went away by boat to a solitary place near Bethsaida, and the crowd followed on foot. Jesus went away by boat to get away from the crowd. They followed. And so he healed the sick. But there were all these people. Now, one of the things I want to point out here is that the 5,000 were the men in the crowd. That did not count the women and children. Okay? So heaven knows how many people there really were there that day. But the order of Jesus' miracle, Jesus asked the disciples, what do we have that we can feed these people? It's late, they're tired, and it's too far to go to town. What do we have? He told the disciples to gather food. So they came back with 5 loaves and 2 fish. It was a little boy's lunch. Okay, 5 loaves, 2 fish. Now this is where unquestioning faith meets adults. What can we do with so little for so many? Yeah, That would be me. Come on, 5 loaves, 2 fish? What are you going to do? They have not seen him do a miracle yet. They have just been called as disciples. So then in the book of Mark, they say that Jesus told them to sit down in groups of 50 and 100 people. Now Luke says groups of 50 people, which equals 100 groups. Pick one. Jesus took the loaves and fishes in hand. That is seeing what you have and being grateful for it. Claiming the bounty that you have. Not saying, oh, this can't feed all these people. This is recognizing the supply and what you are asking for increase of. He looks upward to the heavens. Now this, to me, is the major point. And it's so many times in the Bible it says, lift up your eyes. And what it means to us is we look away from the appearances of lack. We have 5 loaves, 2 fish. If you look away from that, I still can feel, I still can sense what I'm holding, the substance that I have in my hands. He looks upward towards the heavens. He gives thanks, and then he breaks it in pieces. Now, why would you break it in pieces? Because you still have 5 loaves and 2 fish. You break it into pieces, it no longer is the whole, it is each person's meal. Broke it into pieces, blessed it and broke it. He gave it to the disciples first. Okay? That to me is a major point. He gave it to the disciples. The reason he did that, again, this is the first miracle that they have witnessed. They are not quite sure that this is going to work. There's 5,000 out there, and there's this. So he gave it to the disciples. The disciples gave it, passed it out amongst the people. Everyone ate to fulfillment. Everyone ate as much as they wanted. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, my mama told me that you take a little so that everybody gets some. And then the second time around, you can have more. But make sure that everybody gets some first. Okay? So, I'm sure as they're passing the baskets down the row, people are not thinking that. They're thinking, I am starving. Load up my hand, pass it down. Oh, I got to take some for my kid. Okay? Everybody ate to fulfillment. So what happened then? The disciples gathered 12 baskets of leftover food, of those broken pieces. 12 baskets. In other words, a basket apiece. Do you think they believed it was possible? And the really cool thing is there's another story of feeding the 4,000. And we're not going to go there, but it proved the 5,000 was not a fluke, that it could be done, and was done again. And then Jesus says to the disciples and to us in posterity, what I have done, you will do also, and more. So even though what we have seems small. Substance is everywhere. All we have to do is claim it and accept it. Do you think those people questioned that Jesus broke that loaves and fish up and passed it out to them? They weren't questioning. They were hungry. The source is present all the time. All the time. There is no doubt. There is no fear. There's no what if. When we get back to that sanctuary within, the Christ Spirit within, we know the truth. We've been told the truth. We've learned the truth. We live the truth. And if it's not the truth for us right now, we get back to that center, to that knowing, to the truth within. We are a child of God. We do not inherit sickness. We are prospered. I know I have plans for you. You will not, get the actual words, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and plans for a future. I think that is what order is all about. Divine order. Knowing what our destiny is and that our path is already laid out for us as soon as we allow and accept who and what we are. We have a path. We have a destiny. Live long and prosper. And so it is. Before we start the pre-song, I'd like to just mention the song that we're going to do afterwards, after the meditation. Normally we would sing it very quickly, but we are going to do it very slowly, very meditatively. It'll be a new experience for us. Sweep over my soul. And so as we prepare for meditation, for the time of silence within, we turn within to that Christ Spirit that is in our soul sanctuary within. We know that we are truly, truly welcome here, for it is our soul welcoming us to our higher consciousness, where there is peace, where there is joy and happiness, where God is. And our Christ spirit within wells up within us and bubbles within us with joy and radiance. All that we have on our minds, we leave at the doorway. We can pick it up again if we need to. But for now, we leave it behind as we go deeper and deeper into meditation. And as we are resting in our chairs, we allow our bodies to relax, our minds to clear, and we just gently breathe in and out and allow ourselves to relax and be at peace once and for all. Peace. Jesus said, "My peace I give you, not as the world gives, but God peace." And we breathe in and breathe out that peacefulness. For we know the truth of who we are. We are children of God. All that we have need has been provided to us. It is around us. It surrounds us. The beauty of God. The surplus, not just the abundance, the surplus of God. And God has said, "I open the warehouses of heaven and pour out upon you my blessings." We are blessed. So blessed. And we allow those blessings to come to mind as we express our gratitude. Our gratitude for all that we have, all that we are. And we know the divine intention is to experience the highest good and the best. And the joy of that thought fills our very being. We are so blessed. And as we are in this meditation, we have friends and people come to mind, and we see the Christ within them, that Christ spirit, the Christ radiance shining. Perhaps it's shining behind their eyes. They're not even aware of it, but we can see it, for we look with the eyes of God, and we see the wholeness, the well-being, the intention of each person that comes to mind. And we know that we give them our blessing. For God has said, what we bless in this world shall be blessed. We know without a doubt we are loved. We are loved. And we are love. We may have in the past not known how loved we are. We may not have recognized or accepted the love that has been poured out to us, or recognized the ways that love is poured out. But love is always there, within us and around us. For God is everywhere present. We only have eyes to see and know the truth. We are loved. We are prospered. Whatever thoughts that are less than what we want, we release, we let go, and we grab onto the highest and the best. For that is the truth of us. And we know the truth. We accept the truth. We make the truth our own, and we live truth. We have had the way shown to us. We know that the light of God shows us our path and also shows us our destiny, so we never need doubt that we will get there. And so we can enjoy the journey, even the challenges, even the seeming disappointments. We can know that divine order is at play, that it's not the right time, it's not the right place, maybe not the right person, but divine order will show us the plans that God has promised us. And we are so grateful, so filled with gratitude that we can be led, we can be shown that those who we need to have come to us to show us the way, perhaps to say the right words to us. We allow the healing, as Jesus asked, will you be healed? We let go of those limitations, those thoughts that keep us from knowing the truth of our being. We let go. And we allow the truth to blossom within us so that we are filled with the truth of God. There is only one presence, one power in the universe and our lives. God the good, omnipotence, all powerful. There cannot be anything less than God. And we gently take a breath and release all that is less than the truth of us. And we give thanks that the truth manifests in our world. For the truth of God is peace, is serenity, is harmony, is freedom. And we are so grateful to be alive in this time. For we have so much to give. And as we prepare to return to this time and this place, we give thanks again for all that has been given to us, for all that is being shown to us as our path in this world. And we go forward with a joyful heart, knowing that we are in truth God's people. And so it is. I love joy, 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 down in my heart, down in my heart, down in my heart. I've got the joy, 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 down in my heart, down in my heart to stay. And so it is. Amen.
Isn't this our destiny? Let's get started now today. Onward on our way. Let's be what we really are. Seek and find our
let us stand and have our prayer for protection and then join together in our love song. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And let me assure you that we may be few in numbers, but we are mighty in God. Have a great week, and remember, you are truly loved. And so it is.
We appreciate you joining us once again. Some portions of this service have been edited to fit the available time. We look forward to seeing you next week.